Back in 1974, when Dr. Manuel G. Guajardo was planning his next steps after graduating from Brownsville High School, he learned a valuable lesson. Never give up on your dream, even if a high school counselor tells you it's not possible.
I go to my senior counselor and I tell her, I need to sit down and talk about what do I need to do to go to college and go on from there. She said, well, what do you want to study? And I said, I want to be a doctor. And she said, well, Manuel, you need to be realistic. And I think those were the words she used. You need to be realistic.
Manuel didn't know what to think about her advice. He felt then, and still feels today, that as a teenager, he knew she was wrong to be so discouraging. Manuel earned good grades in high school. He graduated in the top 10% of his senior class that had almost 1,000 students. He felt he was ready for the pressures of college. But this counselor urged him to play it safe.
Going to medical school, becoming a doctor involves a lot of time, money, and effort. And you don't have the money, and I don't know if you have the time, you don't have the family support. So you need to be more realistic. Why don't you pick a vocation like auto body shop or mechanic or welding or some vocation of some sort, that way you know you'll succeed.
Manuel did not take her advice, but he did succeed. Today, he is one of the most successful obstetricians in Brownsville, delivering more than 8,000 babies since he opened his medical practice in 1987. He has earned the confidence of 2 governors, serving on the Texas Medical Board, which protects the public health by licensing and disciplining doctors. Manuel was born on October 19, 1955, to Juan and Celia Guajardo. The Guajardos were a large family, 5 brothers and 4 sisters. Manuel was the baby of the family. Manuel says his parents understood the value of an education and provided encouragement as he was growing up.
They did it in their way. Because they themselves didn't have an education, they understood that it's important to go through the process. And I guess they did it right enough that it helped me get through.
He says his mother was always at the school, attending PTA meetings or meeting with teachers.
She didn't know what math I was taking or that I was taking algebra or geometry or anything. She didn't know what that meant. She just knew that I had to be in class and I had to get a grade. And she would always sign the report cards, and she would always look at my attendance. And she would know if I missed a class or not. And she would come down on me for that.
Manuel enrolled at Texas Southmost College in the fall of 1974. His father passed away a few months later. Looking back, he said he was glad he stayed close to home. He is grateful that his hometown college provided him with the support he needed to navigate the unfamiliar halls of academia and to take his first steps toward becoming a doctor.
So I didn't have an older brother or sister or somebody that I could say, hey, how does college work? What do I need to do? So I went to TSC at that time, Texas Southmost College, and I went through their counseling department. And I said, this is me, this is my grades, this is what I want to do. And everybody was very helpful, very, very positive about it, and said, great.
Manuel remembers one of his first mentors was Barbara Warburton, chair of the biology department. From her, Manuel says he learned another valuable lesson: believe in yourself. Believe that you can do it. He says professors Dr. Raymond McCrory, Norman Richard, and Manuel Medrano also inspired him. Manuel stayed a year and a half at Texas Southmost College. He transferred to the University of Texas at San Antonio and completed his undergraduate degree in biology in 1978. He was accepted to the medical school at the University of Texas Health Science Center at Houston, and in 1983 earned his medical degree. After completing his residency in obstetrics and gynecology at Parkland and Methodist hospitals in Dallas, Manuel received several job offers to stay in Dallas, but he wanted to come home and establish his medical practice here. It almost didn't happen. He made the rounds of local banks hoping to get a startup loan. He even created his own business plan to convince the bankers that he was prepared for success.
And they all would say, well, let me think about it, let me look at it, let me take it to the committee, and la 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 la. And 2 weeks would pass, 3 weeks would pass, and I'd make another trip, and I said, where are we at? How does it look? Well, the loan committee hasn't decided, which at that time I didn't know, but that basically meant no.
Manuel was ready to give up. On his final visit, a friend and local doctor encouraged him to meet with his banker.
I don't have time for loan committee. I said, I leave tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and if I don't have a yes answer, I'm not coming back. So if you can help me out, great. If you can't, I understand. He says, I'll call you tomorrow morning. And he called me about 8:30 that morning or 9 o'clock before I left, and he said, we'll do it. And that's how I started here. And then it just went from there.
So in 1987, Manuel opened his practice with no patients. 20 years later, they moved to this location off of Highway 77 with a dream of creating a center for healthcare excellence. In 1999, he opened Brownsville Doctors Hospital. He is proud to say it is the only locally owned hospital in Brownsville and was built, equipped, staffed, licensed, and accredited within 9 months of construction. By his side has been Edna. They were high school sweethearts and they have been married 30 years. He says she has been there through thick and thin. Together, they raised 3 children, Manuel Lorenzo, who is a student at UTBTSC, and Lorena Alessandra, who is in high school, and young Alex. In 1992, tragedy struck the family twice. It is still very painful to remember. 2.5-year-old Alex and Manuel's mother died within a day of each other.
I want to work hard, but I also want to have time for my family.
Manuel says family is a priority, and he schedules his work so that he can stay involved.
I may get less sleep sometimes, and I may have to get up early so I can make it to pick up. And I used to make sure I dropped off my kids to school, so I would go make rounds early at 6:30, so I could come back at 7:30 and drop them off at 8 o'clock at school. I make time, I would alter the schedule so that I would, if they had a basketball game at 3:30 or 4, I would schedule my patients accordingly.
Manuel's prescription for young students is to pursue your dreams. Even if a high school counselor or anyone else tries to steer you down a different path, pursue your dream.